not be moved, as I'm shaking in my shoes now. As I was preparing my talk this week, I was looking up some things online for, information that I could put into the talk, and I came across a cartoon. And it was from the cartoon from Ministry of Sound Bites. It had a picture of two men. One was sitting at a desk writing something, the other one standing over him and talking to him. And it said, "Actually, minister, it doesn't really matter what you say, as long as you include a combination of the words choice, empowerment, and customer focused." I think I've done the first two. However, don't worry, I'm not here to sell you anything. The objectives of my talk is living the principles of the science of mind by putting them into practice. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. Do we believe this? Let's see what we can do and set an intention to deepen into the belief. We come here on Sundays to listen, to learn, to be inspired, to attend workshops and classes. In other words, to be spiritually fed. Are we all feeling fulfilled in life? Do we have an action plan to living a more fulfilled life? I will share with you some of my experiences with living the science of mind and watching my needs and desires manifest over the years, some more quickly than others. After a second failed marriage in my life, at the age of 41, I was spent. I was mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually bankrupt. I made a promise to myself to heal and to integrate the parts of myself. I learned that everything is not black and white. There are areas of gray in our lives. Life is not all or nothing. I was eager to change and to do whatever was necessary to be more fulfilled in life. I was more than ready to heal on all levels. I knew I had to do something. I wanted to improve myself. I was open to constructive criticism. I was open to self-help. So at that time, I would go to the library, and at the library, there was a rack of cassette tapes that you could take out 5 at a time. So I had no idea what the tapes were, who they were by, or anything like that, so I just said a quick prayer to God to lead me to the 5 tapes that I needed to listen to at this time in my life. There were tapes from Marianne Williamson, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, and many others. I began reading magazines like Psychology Today, books like The Road Less Traveled from M. Scott Peck. I got into some 12-step programs, which are also principles to live by for anyone who has any behaviors they would like to release and that does not serve them well in life. From working the 12 steps, I found that doing step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, helped me to start to have a more balanced view of myself. I learned to not be too down or too self-inflated on myself, to be right-sized, as they say. Then daily I would take a 10th step, which is continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. I also met regularly with the counselor for quite a period. Shortly after, I found a religious science center. There I began to study the science of mind by Ernest Holmes, the founder of this movement. It is a philosophy of faith and a way of life, he says. It is empowering and giving way to freedom, I say. What is our perception of ourselves? Do we think highly of ourselves? Have you ever asked yourself, who am I? Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind tells us about the truth of being as the Trinity of being. I encourage you all to read the Science of Mind book, especially pages 25 to 60, where Ernest Holmes explains his philosophy. He says the thing itself is the power and back of creation, the thing itself, or God. The nature of it explained as being universal energy, mind intelligence, spirit, love, and that we are all powerful beings. On page 38, we are surrounded, he says, the way it works is that we are surrounded by, immersed in, and therefore is flowing through us, a creative something, call it what you will. The sum total of our thought, will, purpose and belief creates a tendency in the law that causes it to react to us according to the sum total of our beliefs. Ignorance of the law excuses no one from its effects. If then certain specific ways of thought and beliefs have produced limitations in our lives, other beliefs will change them. We must learn to believe. The approach should be direct and it should be specific. What it does, on page 40, Ernest says, perhaps the simplest way to state the proposition is to say that we are surrounded by a mind with a capital M, or intelligence, that knows everything. That the potential knowledge of all things exists in this mind, and that we also exist in it and may draw from it. But what we draw from it, he says, we must draw through the channel of our own minds. A unity must be established and a conscious connection must be made before we can derive the benefits which the greater mind is willing to reveal or impart to us. How to use it? It has been proved that by thinking correctly and conscious mental use of the law of mind that is always operating behind the scenes, we can cause it to do definite things for us, through us. It must and it will respond to everyone because it is law, and law is no respecter of persons. And we're talking about spiritual laws here that are constantly working behind the scenes. This law we did not create. This law we cannot change. We can use it correctly only as we understand it according to its nature. Thought should tend more and more towards an affirmative attitude of mind that is positive, stable, and above all else toward a reality, a real unity with spirit that is already complete and perfect. The realization that we have this ability must be gained by the application of our knowledge. So we must see ourselves as God sees us, how He created us to be. God does not say, "Oh, what a mess I've made." After God created the sun, He did not say, "Let's call it a day." These are other comments I saw while I was searching. He doesn't say, "Sometimes I wish I hadn't cut the corners to get it in all under 7." And when God saw that He hadn't done a good job on Adam, He created Eve. God didn't design mankind to be short-sighted, self-destructive, ravening plague upon the earth. They figured that out all on their own. And on the 7th day, He took rest, and then He took a selfie and put it on Facebook. No, the Bible states in Genesis 1:31, God saw, and it was good. This appears after each day of creation. This phrase means that God was affirming the original design and intent of what He created, which includes humanity. Also on my search, I searched, what did Ernest say about creation? Ernest Holmes' teachings on creation include the idea of the universal mind, or God is the source of everything, and that humans can access this power through their thoughts. Holmes believed that a universal mind, or God, is the origin of everything, and that this universal mind manifests itself through all living things. Holmes believed that humans can access the power of universal mind by directing their thoughts, especially their beliefs about the future or present. Holmes believed that a sustained belief in a particular outcome will create that outcome. Holmes believed that the universe is a logical outcome of God's self-knowingness. Holmes believed that the Spirit is incarnated in all people, and that all people are incarnations of the one Spirit. And in Genesis 1:27, it says, "So God created man in His own image and likeness. He created him male and female. He created them." It doesn't mean that God has human form, but that humans are similar in moral, spiritual, and intellectual nature. I say created by the pattern of perfection and blueprint of wholeness, we are good. We are perfect. We are whole, complete, and powerful. Where we get into trouble is when we think otherwise, to differ or to doubt, to deepen into truth. The truth of your being is to become right-sized in your view of self, which is to become humbled. There are some Bible quotes that affirm the power of the tongue. So it's not only our thoughts that create, but it's the words we put behind our thoughts or after our thoughts that we speak. In Proverbs 18:21, it says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits." In Matthew 12:47, he says, "For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned." Ephesians 4:29, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only such as good for building up as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." Psalm 141:3 says, "Set guard, O Lord, over my mouth. Watch over the door of my lips." And Jesus tells us in Matthew 21:22 that all things you ask in prayer, believing you will receive. Keep on asking and you will receive what you ask for. Mark 11:24, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Luke 11:9, "So I say to you, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened." And these things I found to be true. I found religious science in 1999, and in 2000 I took my first foundations class. And what I got out of that class was the knowledge of oneness with spirit, divine mind and law, the triune nature of God. I learned that I had the freedom to choose and the ability and power within me to co-create a better life for myself. This gave me a sense of freedom. So 1 week before our project was due in foundations class, I didn't have any idea of what I was going to do. But that night, driving home, I took some back roads and a light bulb went on. And the light bulb said, "You're like a Venetian blind." And I'm like, okay. So I went home and I put pen to paper and I wrote a poem. And that poem I will read to you at the end of my talk. But at this time in my life, everything had changed. My religious beliefs were in question. It was a real starting over after my end of my career in finance and mortgage, the beginning of a new one as a nail technician, far distance between, and it was the end of my second marriage, the beginning of yet another career as a massage therapist, and becoming self-employed. Then my house went into foreclosure. My mind was low, my mood was low, my money was tight. From then on, I continued with the studies of the science of mind, reading the textbooks and other books written by Ernest Holmes. I began using affirmations and writing and reading and recording my affirmations and playing them while I slept. Daily, I would read the Science of Mind 365, meditation book by Ernest Holmes. I began writing and praying aloud spiritual mind treatments, and I began testing the principles. I started with affirming parking spots, smooth traffic flow, things for the house like repairs, paint, flooring, fireplace, etc., all kinds of things, whatever I needed. I wanted to change my whole house. I wanted to make it mine after the end of the second marriage. I wanted to put me in it. I would affirm more clients, more money for food and clothing, etc. I would think it, speak it, claim it, accept it, and allow it. I can't begin to tell you how many things started to fall into place and how many things that I would need became manifest in various means of ways. I became to believe that all things were possible to those who believe. I developed an attitude of constant gratitude. Friends and neighbors would give me clothes and food, invite me to dinner when my cupboards were about bare. Didn't know what I was going to eat next. Another friend forced me to go to the food bank, so I went to the food bank and got all kinds of canned goods that I don't like. Another friend, and then I started like walking with my neighbor in the neighborhood in the early mornings, and on trash days, I would see things on people's trashes that I could use. So we made it a game, and then my neighbors, they would want to, say, well, I'm looking for this, or I'm looking for that, and darn if we wouldn't find it. And I was telling my cousin one day about, what I found on the trash, and she's like, oh, I'm going to give you a list, and you can look for me. And I'm saying, well, you can do the same thing. She said, well, I don't get up that early to walk. So, but, I would, people come to me and say, well, find this, find that, and things would show up. Somehow, some way, things would just show up. So I did what I could to attract more clients and affirm that there was always more to come. There were times when my book was light, and there were days I didn't have any clients. And then the phone would ring, and somebody called and wanted to get in that day. I gained a lot of knowledge and insights from others. About 4 to 5 years ago, I began praying diligently with my prayer partner for a new love relationship. I asked for the divine selection because I felt that my picker was broke. I clarified the qualities of the man I wanted to be with and the way I wanted to feel in this new relationship. I knew I had to become that first to attract it, and I had been working on myself for years. Then after 2 years of praying, lo and behold, I ran into an old classmate quite unexpectedly. We, Michael and I, had our first date and have been seeing each other for 2 years this month. For this, I am so grateful. Practitioners are anyone who practices the principles of the science of mind. We can all be practitioners in our own right. A practitioner is one who practices the presence, sees the divine in others, teaches, heals, and affirms truth in one universal power for good. Become a practitioner in your own right. See the divine in yourself and in everyone. Practice the presence in all your affairs and know that you are powerful. Know that you have choice. Notice when things go right for you. Practice gratitude. Be thankful for everything. Practice love and kindness and have integrity. Know that God's good belongs to all alike. And know that all things are possible to those that trust and believe. More and more I see that this way of life is a daily practice. And in conclusion, I say, remember who you are and whose you are. You are the essence of God personified. Realize your own power. Embody the truth of your being. So ask, believe, and when it's hard to believe, trust and let go. Sometimes the answers may be not now, or they may be no. Then trust and clarify that if what you are asking and what you want, if it is in your best and highest good, and affirm that if not, there's always something better to come. Continue to work on clearing away the hidden beliefs, the cobwebs from your past conditioning that is left in the subconscious mind operating under the surface. Remember, it wasn't overnight that we were conditioned negatively. Continue to ask for more to be revealed to you, to be open to receive insights, and become aware and realize that when they are revealed, they're like little light bulbs popping on. We can progress. By negating these untruths, trusting that what needs to be healed will be revealed. As we grow and deepen into our true self and our divinity, continue your spiritual practices of prayer and meditation, developing that conscious contact with your God, your higher power. So I affirm, all I need to know is revealed now. Everything happens in the perfect sequence, space and time. And in summary, studying the science of mind for several years now has really helped me to begin to embody this teaching. Since I've been introduced to the science of mind teachings, my faith has really grown. I've seen that as I deepen into truth, the truth of my being, I deepen into faith. I become more and more empowered, learning to trust the process, maintaining an attitude of gratitude, asking and knowing that when I fall short in my humanness, that all I need is provided. I can ask my prayer partner and other practitioners to pray for me and to affirm for me. They will remember truth for me, and whatever I seem to forget, whenever. So seek help remembering your truth when life gets tough and you forget your truth. Get a prayer partner. Have a prayer practitioner session with a trained practitioner and minister of science of mind. We all come here on Sundays, attend workshops and classes to listen, to learn, to be inspired, to be joyfully uplifted. In other words, to be spiritually fed. So let us digest and assimilate into our daily practices. Affirm, claim, allow, accept, believe, and receive all of God's good now. And as they say, it works if you work it. So work it, you're worth it. It is a great idea to put into practice these teachings and applying the principles, proving to yourselves, and it works when you work it. Are we increasing and deepening our faith by building a faith muscle and cementing our belief that when we ask and believe, it is given? Do we have faith and really trust and know that God has our back 24/7 and that God is always for us? Use your affirmations to change your thinking, thereby reprogramming your subconscious mind. Good thoughts raise your vibration, which intensifies the law of attraction to your favor. Have fun with it. Test it and prove it to yourself. You are worth it. And now I will read you my poem I wrote after my first foundations class as my project. It's entitled, As a Venetian Blind. There is but one mind, that mind is my mind, telling me I am like a Venetian blind. As I was driving through the countryside on the way home from foundations class, I can let light in and grin, or keep light out and pout. A perfect wholeness in harmony, embracing seeming opposites. I am the co-creator. I have choice. Open blinds, open minds. I can see outside, God is all there is. I can see inside, God is within. Yes, I can see the best in me. Closed blinds, closed minds. I can see God is in you out there. I cannot see God is in you out there when the blinds are closed. I cannot see God in me in here. It's been dark, cold, and lonely up till now. So let me make it clear, I see how. With what I've learned in foundations class, I am the co-creator. I have choice. I've begun to see I am opening my consciousness to the light that is naturally me. Even though I have lived in darkness, it has always been there, waiting for me to realize the truth behind these eyes. So I am opening like a Venetian blind, little by little, vigilant for the light. I have sensed a shift, realizing I am a gift. For the first time this year, Christmas lights hung outside my home here. They serve to remind me to let my light keep shining, ever so bright through the darkest winter nights. I am the co-creator. I have choice. I am open right here and right now. Each morning I feel good, another new day, to laugh, to love, to work, and to play. As I open the blinds, memories come to mind of two old songs remembered my dad would sing. Oh, let the sun shine in, face it with a grin. Open up your heart and let the sun shine in. I smile and my heart feels light as I recall some words, though not all. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. With these memories of old, I am not lonely or cold. The child within is awakened, so let there be no mistaken. I am sunshine, I am light, and I am love. And so are you. And so it is.
So it is.